You're allowed to just exist, okay? You do not have to be creating art to be valued. Are you struggling with art block or finding inspiration at the moment? This video is for you. Last year, I struggled with a 6-month-long art block or burnout that I eventually figured my way out of, and now I'm in the best position I've ever been in when it comes to art. So I'm going to tell you exactly how I did that. Hi, I'm Librho. I currently make these landscapes that most of the time feature dragons, and I can now call myself a freelance artist. Thank you. Let's jump straight into it. So my first step for breaking out of your art block would be to allow yourself a break without feeling guilty. When you're burnt out, you're probably not going to be doing a whole lot of art, which is completely fair, and instead you're going to be sat worrying about the fact you're not doing art, and that's going to just counteract what you're taking a break from, because instead of just thinking and worrying about the thing as you're doing it, you're thinking and worrying about it 10 times longer than it would take to do the thing. So in a way, you're mentally doing the thing 10 times over, so by the time you do actually have to do it or want to do it or get to doing it, whichever that may be, you've burnt yourself out even more. So I wouldn't really consider this a good break. While yes, if you're an artist that does commission work and is currently going through one of these burnouts, there should be some guilt around advertising a service in a timely manner that you have not been able to complete in a timely manner. I'm sure your clients will be a lot happier to know that you are taking a day completely to yourself to recharge over dragging out that one day of rest across a week and giving them gradual, slow updates where your heart isn't in the work. So this is your reminder, take a break, do not feel guilty about that. You can always communicate this to people if you are working on something with them. Trust me, people are so much kinder than we initially might make them out to be. Even if you don't have people waiting on you, it can still be really easy to feel guilty about not drawing because your whole life you have been the art person. What are you if you're not drawing? You're allowed to just exist. Okay? You do not have to be creating art to be valued. And by reminding yourself of that and having this guilt-free break, you'll probably find yourself coming back to it anyway, especially if it has been in your life for as long as you can remember. You decided to learn art out of your own passion and desire. Wait, give yourself that break, and wait for that passion to rekindle again. I'm sure it will. And if it doesn't, that is completely fine, because step 2 will allow you to find something else to fill that time with. And what might that be? Fill yourself with other activities. I know for me personally, when I was drawing in 2023, I did not leave the house very much at all. If I wasn't drawing, I was on social media finding things to make content about. And if I wasn't doing that, I was drawing or watching some TV show and going to sleep. I wasn't fueling myself in the ways that now matter to me a lot. I wasn't going on walks, which I now enjoy. I wasn't exercising, which I also now enjoy. I've taken up weightlifting. My social life was completely abysmal. I'm lucky I have my sister living at home with me, because otherwise I can imagine myself going days at a time without talking. And look at me now, I'm talking to you. Anyway, that is enough about me. Some other activities that might really fill you with enjoyment are going to museums, going somewhere that makes you interact with animals. And if either of those things aren't very accessible to you, you could also go into your local town and go around. I find charity shops very interesting. In a way, they're a bit like museums, but you can buy the items that you're looking at. It's really cool to me. And like I said, generally going on walks can be really fulfilling, especially if you can go on one at sunset. Even if you start off by just putting some headphones in and going around the block, you will see a lot more things than what you would do if you stayed confined in your house. And you'll also be moving yourself, which contributes to exercise and endorphins and all of that fun stuff that happens in your brain when you exercise. But the key to these walks for me was seeing new things, and this stuff then inspiring me to draw again. It's like they say, inspiration sprouts most when you're not thinking about it. So instead of sitting with a blank canvas in front of you and a blank mind, get yourself moving and thinking and looking at all different new things in front of you, and your mind will also race with these, and chances are a new idea will come to you. You'll see something that fills you with that joy again, some inspiration, and you can always take a mental note of this and bring the excitement back with you. You'll start being inspired again. But inspiration might not be enough, and that might not work for everyone. So step number 3, force yourself to do art exercises. Generally speaking, when you're in an art burnout, you're probably going to force yourself to draw anyway. And this is going to build some negative emotions and frustration around art. And let's be honest, if you don't like how you feel when you're doing something, you're not going to like what it is you're doing. Why would you want to come back to it? So this is where forcing yourself to do art exercises comes into play, because you're going to set yourself micro goals that you can complete in one sitting, which will hopefully give you a positive emotional reward when you complete it. A sense of completion as well. Building up positive reinforcement to counteract all that negative emotion you built up during your art burnout. Initially, I want these exercises to be really simple. The goal is to just have created something. I do not want you to worry about whether or not you think it looks good. It does not have to stand up next to your old work. An exercise I'm going to assign to you is do a bunch of squiggles all over a piece of paper and then just bring out what you can see inside of them. This is my version of that exercise, and I think that kind of looked like a fish, so I just colored it in. Is it going to be the best piece of art I've ever made? Absolutely not. But I think he's kind of cute and I like the colors I used. It's put my brain in gear to draw something else. It's honestly one of the best exercises you can do to get your creative thinking leveled up a bit more, because you'll be learning to look at things in a different way and pull out more details. Another exercise would be going to a random reference generator and doing super loose sketches. We don't want to get too involved in anything. Remember, you also have to build your patience back up as well. You're not going to be used to sitting in front of a piece of paper for 4 hours like you might have been able to do before, so you're going to be frustrated trying to do that alone. Let's build you up from square one again. This is an exercise I bring up in every video at this point, but timed challenges are also super useful. By setting a timer up for 30 minutes and giving yourself a reference you just need to copy from, it gives you 1, a deadline, which you can choose to ignore if you get into the flow, and 2, you've got a good idea already, an inspiration from that image you just have to copy. You could quite easily combine this with a random reference generator if you are struggling to choose an image. And an even easier exercise, if you don't think you're ready for those, would be to do a whole page of brush strokes. Get reacquainted with your tools again. Do some hatching, do some squiggles, do a bunch of cubes in different directions, check if your perspective skills are still there. It's okay if they're not, we are just getting you reacquainted again. Because like I said earlier, sometimes if it's been too long, frustration outweighs any joy for art, because you're just not at the level you were at, on top of the frustration you built up trying to push through the art burnout. Patience and skill-wise, just start from day one again, building up that habit. And then our last most important step, seize opportunity. Now that you're reacquainted with your tools, you've built up a habit without frustration again, had a guilt-free break, and also been able to draw inspiration from other areas in your life. You don't just exist to create. Hopefully, you'll be able to get inspired a lot easier. It's a bit like you're a sim, and now you have topped up all of your need levels. So when inspiration strikes you, and it will likely be during an activity that isn't art related, like I said, take it if you can. Set yourself an hour to just completely let loose, and if you can't, make a mental bookmark or physical. You can take photos, let that inspiration simmer and be ready. And sometimes letting the inspiration simmer will actually ignite the fire even further. You've subconsciously let more ideas grow and sprout on top of that existing one. And if you're not ready to just wait around for an idea, you can also use resources like Pinterest. Do another reference study and add your own twist to it. References are really important at this stage because, let's be honest, your skill level is probably not where it was just yet anyway. And by using references, you've got a bit more of a crutch to improve the visual language of your drawing, meaning you'll be happier with the result, building up positive reinforcement again, leading to a hobby that you want to come back to, and you'll continue to improve at something if you stick at it. On the topic of references, I do want to mention another site that is my personal favorite. This isn't sponsored, but Unsplashed is a great resource website for copyright-free images. I do really love it, and when I need a reference of something that I can't get by just going on a walk to my local field, such as really cool buildings or an animal that is halfway across the other side of the world, I go to Unsplash and I love it. Anyway, that is enough for this video today. I hope you're inspired again. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.